looking forward to fiscal year 2022 budget negotiations, what do you foresee as the best and worst case scenario of that process?
Sure. So I think under the best case I'd like to think, for example, in the outlook where we have a divided government, the best case is just an orderly budget process. It is highly unlikely, however, that a divided government will produce a budget resolution with agreed upon spending levels. That's just not the way Congress is budgeted in the modern era, particularly with divided government. So probably not a textbook orderly budget process, but at least productive negotiations where you get to spending levels that, one, sustain and resource the national defense apparatus, domestic discretionary priorities, and you do it in a way that is predictable and orderly and avoids any more government shutdowns and hopefully any more kind of funny business between moving money around in a dubious nature. I think we've all seen something of executive overreach over the last several administrations, and I'd like to think we could see the disposition of taxpayer funds be handled in a little bit more orderly process. The downside, of course, is twofold. One is, I think, if Democrats take over the Senate, I think a lot of us are concerned about progressive overreach, getting rid of the legislative filibuster. If Democrats take over Congress and use budget reconciliation to achieve their campaign goals, what's good for the goose, I guess, is good for the gander. It's how Republicans achieved the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. Whether or not that was sort of strategically wise is an open question, but you can expect that Democrats would do the same. You'd see higher taxes and higher spending. That's what they said they would do. It's not my ideal policy scenario, but it is a predictable one. I think more concerning would be, I think, getting rid of the legislative filibuster and some substantial deviations from norms or continuation of substantial deviation from norms in governing. That would worry me most. One of the things that Congress may like is that they're not going to be dealing with the Budget Control Act anymore. And so, when Congress has a bigger allowance, at least to give to themselves, it tends to make them happier. So maybe with a little bit more room in the at least the discretionary budget, which is increasingly a smaller share of the federal budget, that maybe that'll help bicameral relations. So we'll see. But there's definitely some risks in the offing.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like no matter what, you're going to have your hands full watching all these issues.
That's right. Tune in next time.